I was studying my bachelor's from Presidency University, Kolkata,
Okay.
in economics honors. My aim was to get into ISI in this year.
How was the score?
I could not do well in the PEB portion, could do well in PEA. According to the answer sheet, I could get 78 in PEA, but I could not do well in PEB. But the point is that I'm not understanding what is my mistake, why I could not do well.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to know that. So you analyzed the questions. So did you analyze the paper after you got back home also?
Yes, I analyzed the paper, but I'm not understanding what was my mistake. So what I could have done better to do well in PEB. This is what I'm not understanding.
Okay, so once you came back home and analyzed, did you feel that your question selection was fine? Like you attempted the right questions, you chose the 4 easiest out of the 9 and then you did those?
No, I don't think so. I have not. I could not do so in the exam.
Why was
So
that?
I chose 3 easy questions, but I could not choose 4 easy questions. I could, for the maths part, I could not choose the easiest question. I think so.
And why was that? Because you had to just read through 3 questions and then select which ones you are more comfortable with than the others. So what happened why in maths? Like, did you end up just doing the first question, or did you end up, or were you not being able to comprehend that time that is this difficult or easy? What happened?
No, at that point, I could not understand whether it's difficult or easy.
Right. So did you give yourself some time to read the questions, or did you think that I have to immediately start doing it? Like, I shouldn't waste time reading the question, anything like that?
Reading the questions, and then I have thought that something was easier, but then when I was doing, I was trying to solve it. Okay, after some time, after 5-7 minutes, I could not solve it.
Okay, so then did you move to another question, or did you leave it? Then what did you do? Let's say after 5-7 minutes you couldn't do it.
No, so I was doing the maths part in the at the last. So the point is, I do not have enough time to shift to another questions and then try it. So what I did is I did some half portion of that questions, and then I just left it. I do not have time to do another questions.
So my question is that, okay, this is maths, but the other 3, if you are saying that you did properly, then you should have been able to do PB. But since you
no, I did it, but I was not very confident of the answers and all. So this is the point.
See, I can only tell you about the parts of the paper that I saw. I just saw the macro paper because I teach macro. So I just had a look at the macro paper. And what I saw there was that the paper was completely based on the concepts already asked in ISI. None of the 3 questions had concepts which were never asked. So for example, one question was on a production function which was linear. So it was something like AK plus BL or something like that. So that's a linear production function that has come before. What was different was that earlier it was just the production function. Now it had subparts to it. But once you could figure out the production function, if you knew what the production function was, the other subparts with a little bit of effort, like when even I solved it, I think I made a mistake once, but then I could figure out that this is my mistake and go back and correct it. So half an hour, I think, was a decentish enough time to be able to do it. And in the exam, even if you don't do it full, if you do it maybe 60-70%, that's also fine. So I thought it was doable because the concept was repeated. Then the second question and the third, same for all the 3 questions. It wasn't that they were completely new. There were concepts, bits and pieces touched in the previous past year papers. Now what happens is that, for example, this question, so let's talk about this question in particular because I remember it, that this is a linear production function. So had you done a linear production function before?
No, for micro I did that intertemporal utility questions. I did that question. I mean, that was directly from one of the previous year questions, so I did that question.
Correct. So that was directly from one of the previous questions. This one you did not attempt, right?
No.
Okay. But that's what I'm saying, that the paper, everybody found it tough. I completely understand that. It was not straightforward, but it wasn't that it was completely different from what has come earlier. So somewhere what has happened is that so how many times did you practice the past papers of ISI or DSE?
3 to 4 times.
So this concept that I'm saying, the linear production function, this has come before.
Yes, ma'am.
Right? So in that sense, the point is that the concept, see, ISI has a very limited subject topics. It doesn't have vast topics, but in those limited topics, your clarity has to be really good. Like you should, if I talk about a linear production function, you should immediately know what I'm talking about. If I talk about, something else, let's say a lexicographic production function, or let's say a quasi-linear, you should immediately know what to do in this and what is it. That is what is needed in ISI. You have to know your concepts, the concepts really well, the concepts underlying each question. So each question is based on certain concept. That concept has to be very well understood because there is a high chance of that concept being repeated again and again. So that I don't know how thoroughly it happened. That is my take on it, that the concepts were repeated. So somewhere maybe the clarity of concepts was not 100%. You had done it, so maybe you did it to a level, which is why you scored well in PEA, but it didn't go to 100%. And so when you had that exam pressure in front of you, you had the time limit in front of you, that time you faltered a little, because what I can understand is there was only a little difference between you making it and not making it. I'm sure a few marks in PEB, and that was the problem. So the problem is just a little bit more clarity on the concepts behind this, the past year papers of ISI and DSE. I don't think anything else is required. If you've done it well and if you could clear the PA cutoff, you just have to be more thorough with it. That's what I can understand right now.
Okay, ma'am.
The concept behind it has to be really strong. So keep that in mind. And when you practice a question, try to also think that, okay, agar isme ek naya twist aa jaye to, if you change the price to this level, of if you change something to this level, then are you able to articulate it and think? Maybe that will also help.